Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another UFC fight prediction video. In this video, I'll be predicting the four card fights for UFC 310 Pantoja versus Asakura. So without further ado, let's get to the first fight on the night. And I'm going to be predicting all the card, the whole fight card and whatnot. This is a full card prediction video. Another thing, before I get to the predictions, check out my latest short. I try to create a little bit of controversy with it. So like, share it, spread it across. Hopefully some fighters stumble upon it and they get mad or whatever. And it could go viral. I said, hey, no, what is that? I'm not even going to go back. I'll try to say, it is what it is. That's what I was trying to say. It is what it is. Hey, it is what it is. But yeah, try to share that short, that TikTok. Hey, follow me on TikTok. Share that short, YouTube short. And yeah, my most recent one. Let's try to make it, run those numbers up, please, if you want. But now to why you're here, the predictions, and let's get right into it. So first fight we have in the heavyweight division, we got Kennedy Nzechukwu versus Brzeski. And how do I feel about this one right here? I'm going low confidence Kennedy Nzechukwu to beat Brzeski. I feel like Kennedy Nzechukwu is the better overall fighter. I feel like Brzeski's a big puncher. I don't feel like he's such a technical striker or technical grappler or really technical anything. I feel like the fights that he has thrived in has been fights where he has four guys that have tried to take him down. So he's somewhat of a low tier, a decent low tier counter grappler. Because he beat Johnny Walker's brother. He was able to stuff some of his takedowns and outwork him. This other guy he fought, that's kind of like a wall installer. He did a good job of not getting wall installed. But anytime he goes in with like a striker, he has pretty much lost those fights. Like, it's not even like they're big punchers. Like Walter Cortez Acosta, he's not a consistent big puncher. Knocked him out. What's his name? Mick Parkin knocked him out. And I feel like Kennedy Nzechukwu was still kind of in that same category. I feel like Nzechukwu's gonna have more power than he usually had at light heavyweight, at heavyweight. He'll be the fast fighter. He'll be the more technical fighter. And it's not like he's in there with a big puncher in Brzeski. And also Brzeski coming off a knockout loss, so it's a lot of stuff just not lining up for Brzeski or not lining up for his positively for him. It's not lining up positively for Nzechukwu. I think Nzechukwu will be just as tall, if not taller. The more technical striker. And I think he'll be able to put Brzeski out in the second round via TKO. So, in this one, I have Kennedy Nzechukwu via second round TKO. All right, let's see. Now to our next fight we have in the lightweight division. We got Guida versus Chase Hooper. And how do I feel about this one right here? I'm going lock confidence Chase Hooper to beat Guida. Yeah, Guida's like 49 years old, a lot of experience, like with 50 plus fights in MMA. And I think more than half his losses have come by submission. He's going with a young prospect who's doing very well for himself and coming into his own, hitting his puberty and whatnot. Already has a submission win over him in a peer grappling setting. And yeah, kid Hooper's still like mid-20s, so very young, coming to his own, striking coming along, jiu-jitsu already been solid, getting bigger, getting stronger, getting more confident. Again, already has confidence of submitting Guida. I think he gets Guida out in the first round. Maybe club and sub, or just matter of fact, just maybe either way, I think he'll hit the mat. Whether he drops Guida, whether Guida gets a takedown, or whether Guida gets it on a single or gets on a double and Hooper snaps up a guillotine. Either way, grappling chain is going to be initiate, and Chase Hooper is going to show that there's levels to the game in grappling, and that it's his time now, and he's going to get Guida out of there in the first round. So, in this one, I got Chase Hooper via first round submission. Now to our next fight we have in the welterweight division. We got Michael Chiesa versus Max Griffin. And how do I feel about this one right here? I'm going low confidence Michael Chiesa to beat Max Griffin. And what's my phone doing? But yeah. Max Griffin's a solid fighter, but I don't feel like, how do I feel about this one? Like low confidence Chiesa. And I think Chiesa has a more he has a stronger pattern of losing. I'm not saying it has a bad thing. I'm not saying actually it's a good thing, because Griffin doesn't fit into the pattern that beats Chiesa. He really doesn't. We look at Chiesa, like I think the majority of his losses have been by submission. Like his loss to Kevin Holland's submission, like a Darce choke. Luque Darce choke. Pettis submission. Masvidal Darce choke. And Griffin got like 2 submission wins on his whole record. And that was over mediocre competition. So I don't respect Griffin's submission skills. I don't respect Griffin's ability to stop fights. He's not a big finisher at this level, especially not by submission. And that's throughout his career as far as submission goes. And I don't feel like his takedown defense is all that great. I feel like this is a fight where Michael Chiesa can grind him out. I do worry about Chiesa's heart and his durability. But again, when we look at the way he's lost, it hasn't really been by decision too much. It's mostly been by getting stopped, and largely like 90% of it by submission, and not 100% of it by submission. I can't recall a fight where he lost by decision here. So I think this is going to be a Chiesa fight where, again, he historically wins by decision, historically loses by submission. Griffin doesn't really fit in the mold of either of those, and Griffin not even a guy that gets the nod on the judges a whole lot either. So I think Michael Chiesa can go out there. I still think this will be a gritty fight. I think Chiesa gonna get hurt a couple times here, but I think he'll be able to hop on a single, hop on a double, and just just grind out Griffin. Not the prettiest fight, but I do think it's a clear decision for Chiesa after 3 rounds. So in this one, I got Michael Chiesa via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the flyweight division, we got Cody Durden versus Joshua Van. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'm going low confidence in Joshua Van to beat Cody Durden. Durden's coming out. No, he's not coming out. He's 1 fight removed from getting brutally knocked out. In the fight, he was dominated up until that point. But yeah. I think Van doesn't really have a great grappling issue, so I think he can address the grappling of Durden. Durden does got some solid hands. His hands are developing a lot, but I'm going with a younger fighter. I feel the fighter with a higher ceiling, Joshua Van. I think he'll be able to address the grappling enough, and I think he'll be able to break Durden down over the course of the fight to eventually materialize a 3rd round knockout over Durden. But I do think this will be a back and forth fight. I do think Van is clearly the better striker. Durden is definitely lethal, and he's definitely a threat on the feet, and definitely will hold his own here and will have his moments on the feet. But I do think that Joshua Van is faster, he's quicker, he's younger, he's a more technical striker. Durden's wrestling's a big if here, but I think Van will be able to address the grappling and be able to break Durden down over the course of the fight and put him away in the 3rd round. So in this one, I got Joshua Van via 3rd round TKO. Now to our next fight, we have in the middleweight division, we got Chris Weidman versus Eric Anders. And how do I feel about this one right here? Excuse me. I'm going low confidence Chris Weidman to beat Eric Anders again. I mean, I predicted this fight like once or twice already, but it's like the 2nd or 3rd time. But yeah, Weidman, low confidence, beat Eric Anders. I understand where Weidman's at in his career, but is Anders really in some different point of his career? Like, oh, Anders, he's the up-and-coming guy, he's this, he's that, or Weidman is so shot that, and Anders is still, looking good. Not really. We see him get teed up on by Marc-Andre Barrault, and I think there's been other fights and who else he's for? He's for this one guy that everybody was knocking out. Oh, what's his name? Pickett. And he got dropped by Pickett and barely got past Pickett. So Anders has not been looking good himself. I think Weidman has looked a little bit rejuvenated, and Anders has looked flat. And he never really looked the greatest. He had little moments here and there in his career, but for the most part, Anders never looked like, no, oh my gosh, this guy's so good, he's the next up guy. He never really looked like that. I think I think his debut was Machida, and he looked okay in that fight, but whatever. But he lost. But yeah. To get to the point of this one, I think Chris Weidman is the better striker. It's not like Anders is like some consistent knockout artist. It's not like Weidman's chin is glass. It's not like Anders, those big leg kicks are, has such dense bones. He's going to check Weidman's kicking. Weidman's leg going to turn to butter again or something. It's not like Anders those big leg kicks and he's going to chew up his leg. Like, Anders mostly looking for a big overhand a lot of times. Don't really set his strikes up too much. Very limited in output. Not typically a high output fighter. At times he tries to wrestle. His wrestling's not going to be no big factor at all. Matter of fact, it's probably not going to be non-existent. I think Weidman can wrestle him up all day long. I think Weidman's out striking him. I see this going the distance, and I just feel like Weidman obviously got much better experience. Very underrated fighter at this point. I think people forget that this guy was like a champion, defended his belt like 3-4 times, was undefeated at one point, and the skills are still there. I just think the elite fighters have passed him by, and I don't think Anders is among the elite or ever was among the truly elite fighters. So I think this fight, Weidman will clearly be the better wrestler. That's without a doubt. Clearly the better grappler, without a doubt. Striking, there's a puncher's chance, but it's not like, again, can you really say that Anders is such this, why does thing want to come up while I'm doing this? I do this. Okay. I don't know. Get off my screen. But, yeah. To get the point, I'm getting bugged by my computer. Yeah, I just think Weidman's the better fighter overall, and I think he'll win by decision here. So, in this one, I got Chris Weidman by decision. How much more fights got left? Because I wanted to run this up too long. Randy Brown versus Brian Battle. How do I feel about this one right here? I'm going average confidence Brian Battle to beat Randy Brown. So, Randy Brown is a very technical fighter. He's very long. He's very skilled. He's definitely live here, but I just don't feel like Randy Brown does it well with a pressure fighter, like a good pressure fighter that's gonna put the volume in. Like maybe a guy like what's his name, one of the guys he beat recently who's gonna come at you stiff and swing sloppy overhands and throw a punch every occasion. Randy Brown could deal with that type of pressure. But a guy who's gonna come in there throwing combinations and be on top of you the whole time, I think that's the fight that Randy Brown is gonna continuously struggle with. It's not like Randy Brown has good counters on the inside, like he got real sharp elbows, or he got a good check hook, got a good uppercut. Like maybe if you're kind of slow and predictable with it, and not just like so smothering like Brian Battle would be, maybe he'll do good with that fight. But I think Brian Battle just has a style and pressure, and I think Brian's Battle looking the best he's ever looked, showing improvement, showing that hunger, showing that will to want to be better, and showing in his skill set and showing in his performances. And I feel like this could be like his last fight where it was a little bit rough, but eventually he just broke his opponent down. And that's kind of what I see. I'm not gonna say it's gonna be exactly the same, but I do see a similar pattern where Randy Brown will look a little slicker. It's gonna be kind of hard to get on the inside a little bit early, but it's going to be that continuous pressure, that continued volume, that continuous effort that's gonna break down Randy Brown and allow Brian Battle to start to accumulate, build up the volume and Brown to accumulate damage on himself. And I see Battle putting him away. I'm gonna say late second round. So in this one, I got Brian Battle via second round TKO. Now to our next fight, we have in the featherweight division, we got Movsar Evloev versus Aljamain Sterling. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'm going low confidence Movsar Evloev to beat Aljamain Sterling. And I do think that Aljamain Sterling is the better overall fighter. Aljamain Sterling is one of the greatest fighters of all time, like top 30. I would say I think that's fair enough to say he's top 30. And as far as bantamweights, he's like top 3. Easily to say. I would say who's above him right now, historically in bantamweight. Maybe TJ, Dominic Cruz, that's about it. So I got one of the greatest fighters of all time. But he's like 35, 36, which isn't a bad age, but you already have had your legacy. You won your belt, you defended like 3 times. Movsar Evloev is undefeated. I think the brass, the push wants him to win, so this Evloev could be a future matchup with Topuria in the near future. Then I really look at, matter of fact, they even kind of disrespect Aldo on the placement of this card or this fight. Like, it's not on the main card, they got this on the prelim. It's like the second, it's not even the prelim headliner, it's the second to last prelim. So like the cold prelim headliner. And when this is a fight where a guy, Aljamain Sterling, who should really be top 10 pound still, he only lost one fight, then went back to win it. They still got Volkov like top 50, and he got knocked out 2 times in a row. Where this guy went on like 8-10 fight winning streak, lose one fight, and then he off the pound list. Is crazy, disrespect. But yeah, I think they clearly want Evloev to win. This fight clearly probably gonna go to a close decision either way, especially if Sterling is to win, which would be his favorite thing. I don't see Sterling knocking Evloev out. I don't see Sterling submitting Evloev, and I really don't see Evloev doing the same either. So I think this is a close fight either way, very close fight. But I think Evloev is younger, he's hungrier, and close fight. I think the UFC wants Evloev to win, so I think that's what happening. For Sterling's sake, I think it's better for him. You already accomplished your legacy. No need to go in there with a young hungry Topuria who's only gonna get better and got true knockout power, and then end up taking a lot of damage. It's better just to lose a close decision to Evloev, call it quits, or do something else. Maybe get a Volkanovski fight or something, legacy fight like that. But going in with Topuria, you're just looking for, you're just gonna end up with lots of CTE like that you don't need, and they probably ain't gonna pay you your regular salary. So for Aljamain Sterling's sake, it really is better that he loses here. But that's just my take. But yeah, I think close fight, close grappling fight. I think they match up very evenly overall. It's just that Evloev is the truer featherweight. He's younger, undefeated, hungrier, and I also think the UFC brass wants him to win. And I also think the fans, kind of want Evloev to win because they want to see Evloev versus Topuria fight that was supposed to happen like 3 years ago. But yeah, close fight. But Evloev is younger and hungrier and able to push more. So in this one, I got Movsar Evloev via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the welterweight division, we got Vicente Luque. I said Luque. Vicente Luque versus Stemba Gorimbo. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'm going low confidence Stemba Gorimbo to beat Vicente Luque. That's why so many damn fights. Yeah, low confidence Gorimbo to beat Luque. It's just a momentum pick. I'm gonna rush through this one. It's just purely a momentum pick. Luque still surprisingly young. I think he's low-key younger than Stemba Gorimbo. Very skilled. The best fighter that Stemba Gorimbo has fought by far. It's not even like Stemba Gorimbo looked so good against Nico Price. He looked okay. Did just enough. He looked tired at that moment. So Luque is very live here. Underrated wrestling. The more technical striker, but less mileage on Stemba Gorimbo and better momentum on Stemba Gorimbo's side. And I think he'll be able to. I forget. Did I just say decision or knockout? Well, I'm gonna say knockout. I think he'll be a catch Luque. I think Luque is a bit susceptible on defense. Has always been susceptible on defense. I think this will be a close fight, and Luque will push Gorimbo and make Gorimbo have to rise to the occasion. And I think Gorimbo will be able to catch Luque like late second round and put him out after a very close back and forth fight. Maybe that Luque is winning up to that point, but Gorimbo's gonna have to dig deep, find that shot, and Luque is not gonna see it coming. Get caught, probably feeling confident in his groove. Get caught, drop, and put away second round. So in this one, I got Themba Gorimbo via second round TKO, but very, very close fight on paper. We'll see how it plays out. Next fight we have in the light heavyweight division, we got Anthony Smith versus Dominic Reyes. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'm going average confidence Dominic Reyes to beat Anthony Smith. And I don't know, Anthony Smith's desire is so up and down. Like one fight, he pulls off us. The next fight, he just looks flat, like he don't even want to be there. But I think at this point, Dominic Reyes is obviously much hungrier. He was on a long skid. He just got back in the win column. I don't think he's gonna be so willing to give that up. Where Smith, like he's always like one straight dart away from retiring. I just think Dominic Reyes has much more hunger in him. Has much more potential left in the game. Where Smith is like, I think he reached his peak. He got his title challenge. He pulled off some upsets. He beat some decent fighters. Made a legacy for himself. Turned from journeyman to like a really respectable high level fighter. A period of time for like 2-3 years or 2 years. And on and off after that, some periods. But I think Don Reyes is fast. I think he's sharper. Smith is definitely more well-rounded, more tricky. But I think Reyes will be able to chew his leg up, push the pace, and just break Smith down. I think Smith will probably get kicked with a couple leg kicks, eat a couple jabs, walk into a couple counters, and then just look timid like he looked in the last fight, and probably even go to turtle force mode at some points. Just curl up on the ground and just play guard and not really give himself too much opportunities to hurt Reyes or be in the fight, and also not give Reyes too much opportunities to put him away. That's what Smith does. When the fight's not going his way, he just kind of shuts down, shields up, and I think that's going to happen in this fight. Probably a little bit of a filling out process, a little okay, but then by the second round, you're gonna start to see Smith kind of bury, fall within himself, start to just check out of the fight, and Reyes is going to take over and get a decision over Smith. So in this one, I have Dominic Reyes via decision. All right. Now to our next fight, we have in the featherweight division, we got Nate Landwehr versus Duho Choi. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'm going low confidence Nate Landwehr to beat Duho Choi. And this is definitely a tough fight. Landwehr does not have the best chin. He got a lot of heart. Could push a pace, but there's a chance you could touch him on the button and he don't have the best defense. And Choi could definitely do that. Choi has the power, he has the speed, he has the technique to put him out. That's why my confidence is low. But I do feel like Duho Choi breaks. Like Landwehr has, questionable defense and not the greatest chin. And Duho Choi can be broken by pressure and volume and intensity, and that's what Landwehr brings. So it's a matter of, does Duho Choi crack him or does Landwehr just break him down over the course of the fight and then tap him out? I'm gonna lean to Landwehr, low confidence, third round submission. I think Duho Choi will have moments, but that will only turn Landwehr up more. We have seen Landwehr, like, unless you put him out, you hurt him, he's going to get turned up more. I think Duho Choi is not going to be able to put the stamp on him. And I think Landwehr is going to be able to rally and push the pace, break Duho Choi down, smother him in the clinch elbows, knees to the body, dirty box, and just smothering Duho Choi, not giving him the space to breathe, and then breaking him down over the course of the fight and getting a third round submission. So in this one, I have Nate Landwehr via third round submission. Now to our next fight. We have in the featherweight division, we have in our second fight on the main card, we have Bryce Mitchell versus Kron Gracie. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'm going high confidence Bryce Mitchell to beat Kron Gracie. And not even gonna be around the bush. Why is Kron Gracie on the card? Why is he on the main card? Pretty one-dimensional in his BJJ. His striking, he just swings for the fences. And I don't think he has great power. He just swings and shoots telegraph takedowns. Poor takedown ability, poor striking ability. Very limited, very one-dimensional, very outdated. It's not like he's even born. How old is this guy? Is he born in 1993? Because I'm gonna try to say he's not like, you're not Royce Gracie. You're not from that period. You were started fighting like 2010, 2015. You should be more developed. You're not a guy who, I'm from the old school or this and that. I started fighting in 93. That's how he fight. He fought like he was started fighting in 93. That's what I'm saying. He might have been born in 93. He might have been born later, but he fights like he's from 93. He fights like a throwback fighter, and that's not a good thing. Maybe in boxing, that's a good thing. Like, oh, he fights like a 90s fighter, 80s, 70s fighter. But, nah, That's not a good thing. The sport has passed that by. I think Bryce Mitchell has the grappling to keep the standing, and also grappling to roll with Gracie. Obviously, he's not going to try to play that too much, but I think he'll be able to address the grappling to Gracie and just be the well-rounded fighter, be able to outstrike Gracie, stuff his takedown, maybe outposition him at times here and there, but for the most part, negate the grappling to Gracie, outstrike him. Gracie has a pretty sturdy chin, and it's not like Bryce Mitchell is the biggest puncher. I can see a knockout for Mitchell, but I'll say decision here. And also, Gracie probably pulling guard at times, just butt scooting at times, going to help him stay in the fight. But yeah, I think Bryce Mitchell addresses the grappling and then outstrikes Gracie for 15 minutes. So in this one, I got Bryce Mitchell via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the heavyweight division, we got Ciryl Gane versus Alexander Volkov 2. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'm going high confidence Ciryl Gane to beat Alexander Volkov again. And gonna get to the point with this one as well. Volkov's a solid fighter. He has built up some decent momentum, but really has changed. Are we going to act like, well, I don't know. I know a lot of people be on Sergey Pavlovich's dick. I never was. I always thought the guy was overrated. And I was happy to see him lose because y'all like, this guy has great boxing. Like, this guy, like, weird. But yeah, Ciryl Gane is way better than Sergey Pavlovich and has already beat Volkov. Ciryl Gane's not a flat-footed guy who just swings and prays. He's a guy that will be able to cover that distance, chew the legs of a Volkov, come on the inside, rip him to the body, rip him up top, and not be a stationary target, stationary flat-foot target. He'll jump in oblique kicks, jump in body shots, work behind the jab, move his feet, create angles, and just be too mobile for Alexander Volkov. Volkov's just, he's kind of in the same boat as Pavlovich. He's much longer, much more technical of a striker, but he's pretty flat-footed himself. He's fast and quick a little bit, but as far as his feet, he don't really move his feet too much. He's kind of like a plodding striker. Like, he could throw some heavy teeps to the body, some front kicks and whatnot, but he don't move laterally very well. His foot speed is kind of like, as far as like movement is mobility wise, is very limited. And Gane is much faster and quicker on the feet, and he's gonna be able to dictate the pace just as he did in the first fight. And I think he could get a stoppage here, but I'm gonna say decision. Volkov is pretty tough, but I'll say Ciryl Gane just be too fast, too quick, too sharp, too versatile, too agile, and be able to shut down Volkov again and beat him by decision. I think the last fight was a 5-rounder too. I think it was a main event 5-round, so less rounds to deal with. I think he picks apart Volkov to a unanimous decision here. So in this one, I got Ciryl Gane via decision. Now to our next fight. We have in our co-main event, we have in the welterweight division, we got Shavkat Rakhmonov versus Ian Machado Garry. And how do I feel about this one right here? Is I'm going Shavkat Rakhmonov, low confidence to beat Ian Machado Garry. I'm going to say decision. Really probably should be in the distance. This is 5 rounds, but I already made my prediction. Decision, Shavkat. Yeah, I think very close fight. I think people are sleeping on Ian Machado Garry. This should be a pick'em. At best, it should be like minus 150, not no minus 200 for Shavkat. But we'll see. I'll go Shavkat here. I do think he's the better grappler. I think striking is pretty even. I do think he's a physically stronger guy. I think Garry has overall better kicks and he's faster. Maybe a little bit better defensively. Maybe. Where Shavkat's a little bit more durable, a little bit stronger. Like they kind of mirror each other very well. But I think Shavkat will be able to mix in the wrestling when needed to slow Garry down, land the heavier shots. And also think when Rakhmonov eats shots from Garry, he's going to receive them well. But I think when Garry gets touched by when Garry gets touched by Shavkat, I think it's going to be a bigger reaction and more damage done. I don't think he has the strongest chin. I don't think he has the highest durability. Not to say he's a pushover. I think that Shavkat's kind of like solid like a rock. You don't really see him phase too much. And it's not like Gary's a big puncher that's going to be able to move him so much. Gary's more of a volume puncher. I can see if he catches him like a perfect head kick or a perfect liver kick. But then I don't really see Garry punches or kicks phasing Rakhmonov so much. Where I can see Rakhmonov phasing Garry with a jab, phasing with a straight, phasing with a hook, phasing with kicks to the body or leg. And also I think, again, grappling, I think he's stronger than Garry. Garry might be a little bit more tactical, maybe. But but either way. I think when they lock up Rakhmonov going to get the better of that. And then striking going to be very close. And I see Shavkat, landing heavier and controlling the grappling a little bit more when it does happen. And winning this fight by decision. So, in this one, I have Shavkat Rakhmonov via decision. Now to our main event, we have for the undisputed UFC Flyweight Championship, we have Alexandre Pantoja versus Kai Asakura, the reigning undisputed Flyweight Champion. Pantoja versus Kai Asakura, former Risen Champion. And how do I feel about this right here? Is I'm going low confidence Alexandre Pantoja to beat Kai Asakura. And I think this is a very dangerous fight. Asakura has a lot of high level experience. He also has that taboo of always beating these good fighters in the first fight. He always seems to lose to them in the rematch, but he always seems to beat them in the first fight. So I can easily see that happening. Also, Pantoja seems to rush in a lot of times very square and run into punches, run into knees. And Asakura is very good at running people into knees. He's very long, very strong, hits hard with his punches, with his knees. He's a true finisher. And Pantoja can't act like he's fighting Steve Erceg or something like that, or fighting Brandon Royval, guys that don't really crack that hard. Asakura can crack. He is big, and he has killer instinct. So you come in square like that, you can't run to the knee. You get to the body, we could stop you, or to the chin and put your lights out. But go on, Pantoja. He's on a hot streak right now. It's not like Asakura did lose a fight recently, not too recently, but recently enough to Ogi Kubo in that rematch, where Ogi Kubo was able to fight a very similar approach to Pantoja and win. It was a close fight, but he was able to go out there, swing, touch him a couple times. The shots were like, the punch was kind of sloppy a little bit. I think Asakura's defense isn't the best. He kind of has tall man defense, chin hangs up in the air a lot. And I think Pantoja can, maybe eat a couple of these shots and come in and catch him with big hooks. I think he could attack him to the leg and fight a very ugly fight and win. That's Pantoja style, at least at this level. Very ugly. Like, he's not the most technical striker. He doesn't go about the most technical way, but he will push for it. He'll force the action, get a reaction out of you or hurt you, and then look to take you to the ground and just really give it his all for 25 minutes and win. So, I think Asakura has an okay start to this fight, maybe even a great start to this fight, but I think Pantoja's going to wear him down and get a decision victory over and start to break him down with his volume, his pressure, aggression, and then start to get these takedowns, ride a top position, and just wear Asakura down and drop his hands even lower, dull his reflexes after, you getting exhausted from the pace that Pantoja is putting on you. But again, a very good, exciting fight, especially through the earlier rounds. But I think Pantoja's championship grit and experience at this level will allow him to thrive when it matters most, just as it has in his whole championship run. So in this one, I have Alexandre Pantoja via decision. And that concludes my fight predictions for the 4-card fights the 4-card fights for UFC 310, Pantoja versus Kai Asakura. And as always, thanks for watching. Peace.